Weave it together, coming up short and giving up never. Weave it together, come along, come along, come along, come along. Mending it together. A world on fire can't last forever. We're gonna mend it together. A stitch in time is gonna save nine. A stitch in time is gonna save nine. And I wanna be a catalyst for change. Trying something different. I wanna change the rules of the game. 'Cause even the smallest bird can fly up to the top of the tree. And I wanna be a catalyst and find out what could be.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week. This year's Catalyzing Change Week is about solutions from the front lines by social innovators.
In 2022, Catalyst 2030 concentrated its efforts on bringing proximate leaders and frontline solutions to the forefront. Collaborations led by members from the Global South produced groundbreaking reports on climate and transforming education, with an emphasis on offering local solutions. We continued our mission to create an enabling environment for social entrepreneurs to flourish by initiating a letter to donors, signed by more than 1,200 social entrepreneurs and innovators. The Catalyst 2030 awards ceremony was spectacular, and the awards themselves welcomed by the private sector, governments, multilaterals and donors.
Catalyst 2030 as a movement is disruptive.
One of the best things I think that's come out of Catalyst 2030 so far is incredible collaboration across the ecosystem that just didn't exist before Catalyst came into being.
The thing I love most about Catalyst is that it's an open movement for social entrepreneurs around the world.
I'd encourage anyone who's looking to be more connected with their local communities around social development goals to come along to Catalyzing Change Week.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week.
Hi, Boogie.
Thank you very much, Susanna. Welcome, all of you from all over the world. Thank you for being on this session today. We are very proud we're part of this fantastic movement, the Catalyst 2030 Week. And it is our first online session that we started from Greece to support this movement to increase the collaborative partners from Europe and all over the world. Again, it's an honor for having you all. And of course, it was a great pleasure to introduce the fantastic speakers that we have to analyze the theme of entrepreneurship skills training. My name is Andreas Stefanidis. Let me share my screen. Okay. I think some people are also connected at the same time. So that's a great pleasure for the session. As I said, my name is Andreas Stefanidis. It is our first online session for the Catalyst Change Week. today, 3rd of May, and I am the president of a non-profit organization in Athens, Greece, the Academy of Entrepreneurship, that we started back in 2007 with one mission: how we can teach entrepreneurship skills horizontally to trainers of private and public organizations to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem. After our foundation, it came the agenda of the global sustainable goals, that they said that until 2030 we have to achieve those 17 goals. That's a challenge that it seemed that it cannot be easily achievable. And then in December 2016, we have the entrepreneurship competence framework from the European Commission that says that in order the European citizens, the global citizens, to have an entrepreneurial mindset, they need to be trained on those specific entrepreneurship skills that you will listen later on. So today's agenda is, I have to welcome the host and to present the three speakers, to say a few things about the Catalyst 2030 for those of you that you're on a similar session for first time, to show a couple of statistics just as a pilot country from Greece, because here is our base, especially the global business complexity is that hurts our economy very much. And then I will have the honor to all of us to listen to the intervention of the three speakers, and at the end to have the time to make questions and comments with the speakers and close the event, because it's a very fast session. We have to finish until 7 o'clock Central European time. So these are the three speakers of today. First of all, the member of the European Parliament, Petros Kokkalis. Just to be sure that I will not forget anything, I will open the short CV for each one of them. If you have any problem with the sound or you cannot read the screen, please let me know and I will fix it immediately. As you can see, Petros Kokkalis has been actively involved in public service for the past 25 years, developing social innovation focused on human sustainable development. In 2019, almost 4 years ago, he was elected member of European Parliament with the Progressive Alliance ticket, representing Cosmos, an association seeking to put the sustainable development goals in the heart of the European policy making and aiming at the empowerment and engagement of civil society and all stakeholders to take bottom-up action for implementing the European Green Deal and the SDGs. He's a member of the Committee on the Environment, Public Health and Food Safety, and the substitute member of the Committee on Budget and the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development and the Committee on Fisheries. In the Intergroup on Climate Change, Biodiversity and Sustainable Development, he is the co-chair of the SDGs Working Group. He studied modern history at the University of Hampshire and earned his master's degree in public administration at Harvard Kennedy School of Government. He's co-founder and secretary on the non-governmental environmental organization Earth, whose work on environmental awareness and education for sustainable development has been awarded by the International Union for the Protection of the Environment. He is elected and served as the vice mayor responsible for economic development and climate change in the municipality of Piraeus between the years 2014-2019, where he promoted sustainable entrepreneurship and support of startups in the maritime economy, blue growth. The European Commission has acknowledged his work awarding the Blue Growth Piraeus initiative at the European Entrepreneurship Promotion Competition 2018. And during his term of office, he led the humanitarian support during the refugee crisis in the period 2015-2016, many challenges in Greece, and served as the president of the Municipal Council for Refugees. So that was the short CV of Petros. Let me move on with the other two speakers. We have Elin McCallum. She's with us, and we are very happy.
Hello there. Nice to be here. Delighted to be part of this event, and thanks very much to the invitation from Andreas and also Catalyst 2030. We've been a member of Catalyst 2030 for a couple of years, and we really value the insights and opportunities and networking it brings. for this work around SDGs. We really would like to be more involved. From my side, I run Bantani Education. I'm the founder of this non-profit based in Belgium, working on entrepreneurial learning, and looking at really trying to scope out how we can bring entrepreneurial learning, entrepreneurial skills center stage, and link the policy with the practice, with the policy with the practice. So I'm looking forward to sharing our work around that with you, and also then to share some opportunities, I feel, to link in with some active events that are coming up after Catalyzing Change Week, linking this entrepreneurial learning with SDGs, which, it's a match made in heaven.
Elin, can I read your CV, or you want to say that?
No, I think it's if people want to find me, you can go find me on LinkedIn. Feel free. But my background, policy, practice, and very much working at European level on entrepreneurial learning, which all I've kind of tried to bring together through my work with Bantani.
Very good. So I move on immediately to Elena Romanini. Elena, we are very happy that you are also with us and accepting the invitation to join the session today. And I have the short CV of Elena. Maria Elena Romanini is a senior project manager with over 20 years of expertise in EU project design and management, and in the design of services for people and organization, training, orientation, scaffolding, intervention to support organizational development and change management processes, collaborating with VET providers, universities, business support organizations, public administration. She has gained consolidated experience in the design and implementation of intervention for the analysis of the skills needed in organizational context, skill assessment, preparatory to the definition of career path. Thanks to 15 years of work in a research center of didactics, she has acquired and consolidated experience in the design of learning methodologies, training supports, and in the analysis and assessment of competencies. Within the framework of innovation project in the education sector, either at national and international levels, she has consolidated her skills in relation to design of skills profiles, definition of new curricula, especially at post-secondary and tertiary levels, EQF 4, 5, 6, and 7. Elena, please, you can say a welcome also.
Yes, Andreas, thank you very much for this invitation. Thank you also to the organizers for inviting me to participate in this very challenging and interesting event. And thank you for this presentation of myself. I will share with you later on some hints regarding well-being in education. This is our core topic of the last several years, and in our opinion is very strictly connected to SDGs and sustainable development goals in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena. So in order to save time, as you saw, I put the Google document links on the chat for the short CV for Elena and Petros, so you can have the access and read that. And we will do that later for my CV as well, because I want to save time for our interactions between the speakers and the participants. A few things about Catalyst. As you saw from the video, the Catalyst 2030 launched at the World Economic Forum in Davos in January 2020. Catalyst 2030 is a fast-growing global movement of social entrepreneurs, innovators, funders, private sector, and government actors. We believe, all of us as a family, that the Sustainable Development Goals can be only achieved by 2030, target deadline through collective action and bold new synergies. That's why we are here. Until today, we have 197 countries served, 2,300 individual members, 1,900 plus member organizations, 1 billion lives touched, and 2.2 billion funding volume. As you can see on the next slide, the map of the members. Here we are. As you can see, we have 20% already members from North America, 20.88% from Europe, 22.36% the distribution from Asia, 4.85% from Oceania, and we have 19.57% from Africa and South Latin America 7.07. So we have a lot of work to increase the participation of this global movement. Now, key challenges, as I said at the beginning of the discussion, SDGs, according to the Social Progress Index, unfortunately, we hope to be wrong, will not be achieved by 2092. So the 2030, with the rough estimation, it is 2092. Key challenges: lack of resources, minimal collaboration and siloed work, disconnect between funding models and needs, and lack of voice in the decision-making process, especially the policy-making. C2030 aims to connect people and create collaborations around the globe to accelerate the achievement of the SDGs by 2030. We strongly believe that we are one family. There's no private and public sector. We are the human beings in the planet Earth, so we have to work together to make that happen for the good of the new generation. The vision, the mission of the movement is the catalyzing collaboration across sectors to unleash our collective potential for global systems change. The vision is a world where we achieve SDGs by 2030 through an unprecedented mobilization of social entrepreneurs, because you need to have a social heart to be part of this movement, partners and resources. The values of the 2030 movement, it is people and nature at the center, co-creative mindset, collaborative leadership, humble audacity, and spirit of generosity. And now, the basic statement of today's discussion is the following. Entrepreneurship has the potential to reduce poverty, stimulate economic growth, and boost innovation, in addition to enhancing social and environmental sustainability. In accordance with the human capital theory and previous empirical studies, it is assumed that entrepreneurship education and training directly correlate with positive entrepreneurial outcomes and therefore sustainable development. Just to give you some data from the recent research of Lisbon Council Initiative about the Green, Digital and Competitive Index that have been presented on the SME Assembly of 2022 in Czech Republic in Prague. As you can see, because as an NGO with enough headquarters in Athens, Greece, our heart is with our country. Greece has the 22nd place out of the 27 member countries of Europe for the digital transition. So we are far below the EU average. And that happens with other European countries as well. You can see that the top position belongs to Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Ireland, and so on. On the green transition, another very important index, engage Greece, it is very close to the bottom. And that's something that worries us very much, and you can see also other countries of Europe as well. Again, Sweden, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Austria and Slovakia are the 5 top countries of European Union for the green transition. Apart of these 2 diagrams, we have something very serious for our country. We are the 6th most complex jurisdiction out of the 77 countries of the global research for the Business Complexity Index. In 2019, Greece was the first country, the most complex. Because of the pandemic and the digitalization of some public services, we are happy now to say that we are the 6th worst country globally. Because of that statistic that you see now, we work together and have been improved last year, and very innovative project at European level, entrepreneurship skills in the public sector. So that is a good initiation to start the discussion, how important is the entrepreneurship skills mindset, not only of the private sector and the business sector, but also to move on the public sector. So with Bantani and T-HAP and Academy of Entrepreneurship and some partners also of the consortium, we work together this year to develop the pathway for the public sector to start acquiring entrepreneurship skills. You can see the links, and I will put that in the chat after we have the speakers starting to put the intervention. I will start now our first speaker, because he's a member of the parliament. So last night he sent to us an email saying it's not possible at the specific time to be with you, but we have the honor to have a video from Petros Kokkalis, and the video starts immediately. If you have any problem with the sound, please write on the chat and we'll fix it immediately.
Hi, good evening from Brussels. I'm happy to join from Brussels. Today we had two very important meetings, one on preparing the new directive on the ambient air quality, on air pollution, and the other one more relevant to our discussion is the new resolution of the European Parliament on the Sustainable Development Goals implementation, preparing ahead for the SDG Summit of New York in September. So I'm happy to talk in this meeting of the Catalyst Foundation on the skills we need to fight inequalities and climate collapse. The role of entrepreneurship in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is of vital importance because it has the possibility to trigger economic growth and boost innovation, and also to enhance social and environmental sustainability. The rapid and just transformation of our economies requires education and training. Companies which have to redefine their identity in an environment that is constantly evolving need to support their employees in acquiring green skills. Business as usual is no longer acceptable for a company that needs to adapt to new data requirements and remain competitive. Green skills are indissolubly connected with positive entrepreneurial outcomes and are fundamental for sustainable empowerment. Achieving the Sustainable Development Goals requires collaboration among public and private sector, governments, subnational governments, communities, individuals. The private sector is a vital partner as it generates 90% of jobs and 80% of capital inflows in developing countries. Moreover, the private sector is diverse and is not determined only by multinational corporations, but also consists of small and medium-sized enterprises which create over 50% of jobs globally. At the same time, many innovations, which of course have SDG 9, come up by startups, a fact that proves that the entire private sector is central in this transformation. The SDGs are relevant in all levels of the private sector, helping among others reaching goals 8 in unemployment, goal 1 in poverty, reducing inequalities in SDG 5 and 10, and strengthening the sustainable action in general in goals 7, 11, 12 and 13. Furthermore, a term that plays an increasingly important role is corporate social responsibility. It is about connecting the business model with specific commitments, such as transparency, business ethics, and environmental protection. Businesses are legal entities, but they are linked to the social group in which they operate, influencing, but also being influenced by the realities of their time and place of action. They must embrace the responsibility. Besides, a sustainable business model respects the social contract and should have a positive social impact. The actions of companies have significant impacts on the lives of citizens, not just in terms of the products and services they offer or the jobs and opportunities they create, but also in terms of working conditions, human rights, health, gender equality, the environment, and the climate. Entrepreneurship can play here an important role in the general adoption of environmental, social, and governance criteria, so-called ESG, which summarize the essential issues of environmental responsibility, social responsibility, and responsibility for ethical governance. At the same time, a company's duty is to integrate into its business strategy the process of due diligence. The rules of the European Union for due diligence aim to cultivate and encourage sustainable and responsible corporate behavior throughout value chains. All of the above are expected to lead to a better understanding on the part of a company and to a better treatment of essential issues. If it fails, a firm could face a loss of value. If it is successful, a firm is predicted to increase customer confidence and performance of employees, lead to a better risk management and prevention, and to also the increased ability to attract investors and access increasing financing resources. In addition, there is now a new science-based classification system, the EU taxonomy, which functions as a tool of environmentally sustainable economic activities. In this way, it creates a security for investors and it helps companies to become more climate friendly. To conclude, the European Commission promotes social and inclusive entrepreneurship. At the same time, sustainable development aims to combine economic growth with social progress without harming the environment. Obviously, negative impacts on the environment and society, such as greenwashing and social washing respectively, due to decisions of firms, must be limited and avoided. The legislative gaps will also have to be filled with more decisive and faster steps, and as we move in the direction of sustainable development at all levels, recognizing at the same time that tectonic changes require time and persistent effort. In the end of the day, the greatest renewable resource on planet Earth is the human mind, and that is where innovation resides. And sustainability is really about doing more with less. So we need more innovation, more data, more effort, faster and more efficient. Thank you very much for your attention.
We took the message from Petros Kokkalis and keep, your question for the end of all the three interventions. And now I'm happy to introduce formally Elin McCallum, Bantani Education leader and founder. And Elin, please, the floor is yours. You are muted.
Mute myself. Apologies. I'll get there. Hi, everybody. Really pleased to be here. Many thanks for the opportunity and happy to talk to you today about EntreComp for SDGs and the work that we're doing around that. I'd like to perhaps, first of all, just explain to you what this word EntreComp is, because for us, it's almost a way of bringing people together. It's a way of opening up what we really mean by this being entrepreneurial, entrepreneurship, into something that is more clearly understood, more clearly able to be developed. It can be taught, it can be facilitated. These competencies that we think about can be developed in the classroom, in the community, at home. And then this is what we want to explore and perhaps bring people together to develop an understanding of. Now, Bantani comes from, it means away we go in Welsh. So it gives you a clue to where I come from. And we're based in Brussels because we really see the value of working transnationally with any partners and all partners across the world who are interested in this idea of creating change, of creating people who have the skills, the confidence, the methods to create that change. And I started my life as a youth worker. And as a youth worker, you're teaching life skills. You're teaching the skills that people need to be able to navigate their way, spot their opportunities, open up their chances, and make the most of that, to understand their potential and move from that towards where they are able to get to. Sometimes despite the barriers that they face, despite the system challenges. And so the work that we do at Bantani is very much really directing this concept of life skills, but trying to drill down. And so entrepreneurial skills, we understand those as life skills, as skills for change. And we welcome this year, it's the European Year of Skills. And we hope that we can place and shine a light onto the entrepreneurial skills as life skills that we really feel are the enablers for the future. Those skills that will create the ideas, the innovation that we need to make the change. So I'm going to take you through a little journey. I haven't done a PowerPoint. I've done a series of web pages, people, because you can go to them. I'm happy to share the links to these pages into the chat. So I'm going to share my screen now to really just take you through a little bit about what we do, about what we feel the opportunities might be to also involve you in that work. So, as I say, I'm a youth worker by trade. So this, hopefully, we can join together. If there's anything you're not clear on, anything I'm not clear on, please shout out, put a message in the chat. I'll try and respond to that. But let me share my screen first of all. And we will. I'm going to have to go. I'm sorry. Can I come back after Elena? My daughter's just having a meltdown and she's just come into the room and she needs her mum. So I need 5 minutes just to go to see my daughter and make sure that she's okay. So I'll pop back in 5 minutes. I'm very sorry, Andreas. I thought
no problem. This is entrepreneurship.
So she just needs a hug. And I'll go over there and help her, and I'll come back. And Elena, I leave the floor to you. I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much, Elin. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this interesting event and encounter. I'm Elena Romanini, as Andreas said before, sharing my short bio. I'm a project manager and a trainer as background. And I'm representing here T-HAP, that is a consultancy agency located near you, Andreas, in Cyprus, Nicosia. And with a consolidated expertise in design and management of international projects and training services for people, companies, and stakeholders. So in my intervention, my brief speech this evening, I'm trying to share my slides. I have some slides, by the way. I would like to share with you some of our reflection in this last period, because as a training consultancy agency, we are developing several projects focused on, let's say, green skills, sustainable development, innovation in education, and we are trying to reflect about what well-being in education is, because in our opinion is very strictly connected to sustainable development of people and communities. And besides, it's extremely important to consider well-being while discussing about innovation in education. So just a moment, I think you can see my screen correctly. I'm going to presentation mode. So everything is working correctly, Andreas?
Perfect.
Okay. So first of all, in our opinion, to think about sustainable development, innovation in education, we have to consider as a reference framework a new paradigm, that is the ones of economy of well-being. Economy of well-being is a new paradigm. This is, let's say, aiming at boosting a long-term sustainable economic and social growth all over Europe, launched by the European Commission in 2019, putting at the center of the paradigm itself the concept of well-being of people, think about individuals, of communities, up to the overall society. And you can see here in the infographic some of the pillars of this economy of well-being. So social protection, gender equality, non-discrimination, health care access, and education and training. So education and training, you can see, is a pillar of this new paradigm, aiming at boosting, let's say, in a sustainable way, stability, resilience, prosperity from individual up to systemic level. Of course, the connection with the Sustainable Development Goals is very strong. There is a concrete and tangible interconnection between economy of well-being and SDGs. For example, referring also to the video we saw before, we have the voice of Mr. Kokkalis. He mentioned poverty, fighting poverty, boosting sustainable development from an economical point of view, and boosting entrepreneurship in general. Then we have also quality in education, SDG 4, non-discrimination and gender equality, SDG 5, quality of life in all the spheres of life for all people, no one left behind. So let's say we focus in our activity and field of study on economy of well-being, but considering a very strong connection with the overall framework of SDGs. Regarding the economy of well-being and the role of education, being a pillar of this new paradigm, the role of education, according to us, is very crucial in order to, let's say, prepare responsible and aware citizens in order to boost green transitions regarding the adoption of more sustainable business models by companies and organizations in general. The role of education is also crucial for guarantee the access of high quality opportunities for upskilling, reskilling to all people at any age and without exclusion or discrimination. From the provider perspectives, skills providers, training providers perspectives, it means also to be able to design and develop those high quality opportunities, making them more responsive, more ready to answer to the emerging socioeconomic challenges we have to face at global level, let's say, every day. So digital green transition, technological innovation, social integration, and last but not least, peaceful living, considering the period we are living. More in depth, innovation in education towards an economy of well-being means also to design and develop, let's say, innovative and responsive curricula at different levels of education. It means also to, let's say, work in order to innovate pedagogic approaches, training and teaching methodologies. The aim here is to make trainees and students protagonists of their learning processes, overcoming any kind, for example, of traditional and frontal way of teaching and training. It means also rethinking and reorganizing learning settings and environments. Try to think about COVID pandemic, the lockdown, the forced digitalization, the forced spread online education. During that period, even forced, all over the globe, let's say, a very important innovation, a very important body of knowledge has been tested, experimented, and created. Now it's time to capitalize this innovation, try to make it an heritage for all people and systems. So it's let's say, we have to consider that knowledge as something we can integrate, thinking about blended learning environments, properly designed and delivered to the different targets of trainees and students. But of course, speaking about well-being and putting well-being at the center means also to think about measures and policies able to make well-being mainstreamed. It's true that there is a lack of policies and measures all over Europe, at least, regarding well-being in education, well-being in digital education. It's a very new niche that the European Commission is starting to study and to analyzing. And last but not least, policies that consider well-being a fundamental dimension of the quality of life of people in all the contexts and life spheres. So briefly, education for well-being and well-being as a result in and through education in the different formal, non-formal, and informal contexts. We have to take into consideration the fact that well-being is a multi-faced and multi-dimensional concept. So move towards an economy of well-being means, let's say, think about individual level, so personal well-being, the community level, so community well-being and sustainable development, up to overall societal development. So we have to think, let's say, intervention both at micro, meso, and macro level, from each individual to the system. Regarding skills for well-being, I fully agree with the contribution I heard so far. So we have, let's say, very valuable frameworks clusterizing skills. We have soft skills, hard skills, green, digital, life skills, green skills, social, so a lot of skills, because without skills it's not possible to do anything practically. Skills represent the basis of our personal and professional development. But first of all, according to our perspective connected to well-being, holistic approach to well-being in education, entrepreneurial skills are the spine, the backbone of, let's say, the personal and professional development of people, of well-being of people, up to the development, sustainable, if I may say, development of communities and societies, because they represent the prior blocks to start, let's say, to organize personal and ecosystemic growth. So entrepreneurial skills and entrepreneurial education have to be fostered across all education levels at any age of people, and considering them, let's say, the starting point for sensitizing also the new generations and the people in general to this green revolution that is extremely needed. Not only thinking about green and more sustainable business models, but let's say more green and entrepreneurial mindset. So starting from entrepreneurial skills to be able to go towards economy of well-being and sustainable development goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elena. Elin, are you back?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. I think many of us have been there. So where was I? Let me share my screen. Okay, can't guarantee my house is going to be too silent because my daughter's a bit upset. There we go. Okay, can we share? Can you see my screen? Okay, brilliant.
Yes, very well.
There we go. Right. So I'm going to take you through some different places in the World Wide Web that will hopefully illustrate a bit of a journey that we've taken that show the kind of approach, the belief system, and the support and opportunities that are there for really understanding, developing, and getting into entrepreneurial learning as a tool, as a methodology, as a means of supporting ideas for and action towards the SDGs. So I'm here to talk about the EntreComp for SDGs hackathon that's coming up, and that'll be something that I'm going to sort of work towards. But I wanted to give you the background into EntreComp. EntreComp is the European framework for entrepreneurship as a key competence, and this is where it comes into this broad understanding. Entrepreneurship as a key competence for all, not to do with entrepreneurship for startup per se, but to do with entrepreneurship for life, for communities, for all, as Elena has also been explaining. I just saw the last few of her slides there. And EntreComp was designed as a means of understanding what we mean by being entrepreneurial. And you can see here that this was designed by hundreds of people around the world. It's not something that was, academically put together. It was something that was collaboratively co-created from the beliefs and perspectives and convictions of many people working across different sectors, from youth to supporting doctorates to supporting adult learning into employability. and schools and vet, of course, as well. So you can see here, this idea of being entrepreneurial in this context, it goes from spotting the opportunities, having the vision, understanding that you can have creativity to develop ideas, understand the value of those ideas, and to think ethically and sustainably about the potential impact of implementing those ideas. Moving through then to looking at the resources that are needed, both your own resources as a person, your potential, the skills you bring, and the motivation you have, as well as then the resources around you, be those physical resources, be those non-material resources, be those financial resources, or be those other people, because we all know no idea is done ever by one person alone. No action is ever implemented by a single person without any support from anywhere else. And then we go into action, and we move from that, taking the initiative, that first step, through to dealing with the whole process of putting something to action, the risk, the ambiguity, the working with others, and the reflection that's needed. So EntreComp is that concept. Those are the competencies, the skills and mindset that go into being entrepreneurial. And this was the first time it had really been set down in a way that I liked, that's for sure, but it also in a way that many people liked. And it all comes back to this ability to, all of these competencies are then broken down into great detail, into learning outcomes, into many different aspects, hints, descriptions. There's a lot of depth behind that flower, but at its very top level, that flower helps many people to understand what this being entrepreneurial is. Helps many people then to perhaps design new learning, adapt it to different contexts, actually be able to implement learning, and also evaluate, assess, and recognize these competencies. Because really one of the challenges often is making this type of learning, these skills, visible, making them valued. What we see across education, across learning, is that what is easily accessible, what is easily valued, is often knowledge. It's a yes, it's a no, it's a right and a wrong. What is not so easily assessed or not so easily valued is these skills which are developed through experience, deepened through reflection, but used across life. You look at any list of skills that employers want, skills that life requires, and you'll find creative thinking, problem solving, teamwork. And that's what you find here. That ability to have ideas, work with others, put those ideas into action is a key area for all of our work. And this is where this concept of being entrepreneurial and the model behind it, EntreComp, many of us got together, and many people are here today. I can see some people who I've known for many years. We have come together to support the EntreComp community. And we literally took the name because, do you know what? It's a word that people recognize, and increasingly recognize. In the last 18 months, 2 years, this is now grown to around 1,100 members from 83 countries. And the EntreComp community is being supported from a whole host of different sectors, different areas, different geographies, different purposes, but coming together to understand that this being entrepreneurial is something that we need to put into lifelong learning. We need it from the ABC to the PhD to the beyond, supporting people to understand their potential, build that confidence, break down the barriers to people having ideas and putting them into action in any realm of life. And that confidence, that is overcoming the fear of failure, the fear of taking the first step towards the unknown. And we hope by that confidence is just that experience, that familiarity with doing it once. It's not so hard to do it again. So the EntreComp community brings together many different people and organizations. And within that, we are a member, of course, of Catalyst 2030. And what we want to try and achieve is that people can connect, learn, share, and get recognized for their work. So with the support of partners of the European Commission, we've been able to put this community together to create opportunities to get people together, to create chances to recognize people for the value they bring, such as Andreas with the design of the Entrecomp for the Public Sector project, another great aspect. I'm an ex-policymaker. God, we need entrepreneurial skills. And so I'm trying to actually, unfortunately, my screen is underneath my, here we go, there we go, right. So within this community, what you find when you get in there is a whole host of other people, but also there is a platform behind it. One sec. And so if we look at the community, there are many networks, there are people that know lots about entrepreneurial learning, know little about entrepreneurial, know lots about Entrecomp, know nothing about Entrecomp. And they're from around the world and from lots of different sectors. I'll share all these links with you into the chat. There's also then, when you go into the community itself, you will find a host of resources within a different set of apps. So we have here, if you go into it, it's very easy to join, just go to entrecomp.com. There is a library, and within the library, for example, we've really tried to show the breadth of relevance of this approach to lifelong learning across enterprise and business, of course, but also democracy, digital, environment, circular economy, green, gender, migration, policy, social. This is all aspects that, you know, we look across the SDGs. All of the resources in this library are all mapped to the SDGs because we see the value of this approach to achieving the SDGs, to supporting people to have the belief, the confidence, the skills, and the ability to see their way forward to make an impact on the SDGs before 2092, quite frankly. That's so with that, in this community, you're able to access the library. You're able to look at different events and activities that are coming up. You're able to look at the courses that are available. And of course, you're able to join some of the many networks that are available in here too. One second. Within this community, you will find a whole host of diverse people. And that's the beauty of it, to really bring people together within the context of Entrecomp, of entrepreneurial learning, in order to really just support that sharing and learning. One thing I definitely learned as a policymaker is it's very hard to see into others' practice. It's very hard to be able to gather the inspiration that you need to take that next step, to go beyond what is the usual and go into what is the innovative in terms of the learning, the support, the development that you're building with, whether you're working with upskilling women, or whether you're working on community actions, or whether you're working on scaling businesses. All of this is about ideas, growing innovation. And when we come to that, we've managed to bring together partners that are now then supporting a series of events. And one of the events that we'd really wanted to profile in this session is then the Entrecomp for SDGs Hackathon. It is an initiative of the European Commission. It's also it's being led by EIT Raw Materials, with the support of EIT Food and All Digital, and ourselves, Bantani Education. And it's really a chance to have an afternoon where you take some space, come together, and we've got people registered from across Europe and beyond, to try and explore what does this mean? How can we hack education, hack lifelong learning to be able to support people to innovate, to start business, to generate their own employment opportunities? We're particularly focusing in this on the three SDGs: quality education, gender equality, decent work, and economic growth. And what we're looking for is to create small teams to really build those ideas and then offer the mentoring for those teams, or perhaps just members of those teams, take the ideas and build them forward and see whether we can't get some of them actually up and running. and track and support their progress towards making an impact on the SDGs. So I hope that you might be interested to join this. There's a great team at EIT Raw Materials leading this, and it's a real opportunity to, I think, open up some new ideas, some truly different ideas about how we can get these skills developed, support learners to be more confident, because confidence is such an important factor, to have the experience of using them within education, lifelong learning, towards that making the difference in terms of their ability to impact on SDGs in turn. So this is what I wanted to show you today. Is a little bit is that journey from where we've set up the community, all of the opportunities that community is offering, through to then this particular online event. The community as a whole, we have events each month, cafes. We also have annual conferences and also get-togethers that happen in different places. So we would welcome you to join. We welcome the opportunity to share this with the members of Catalyst 2030. And we certainly hope you might be interested to join this hackathon where, you know, the audience is good, the funders, always key to have them on board. The people that we see registering are good, and we want more people that can really take it and tweak it, take it and change it, and hopefully take it and make the difference, because it's a hard job to change lifelong learning. We have to try, and we have to try and make it so that people see, understand, and are actively working towards making a difference across the SDGs, because we cannot leave this necessity of change not happening. And hopefully this is one way that we can support that, and more widely with the Entrecomp community in collaboration with great organizations like Andreas, Elena, others in the room. Hello, Vizam. Hello, Fatima. And also then obviously with the colleagues from Catalyst 2030 who are really putting on this great week. Thank you very much. Register. I'm putting the link in the chat now.
Thank you very much, Elin. All the links that you shared, they are already on the chat, because I've put all the hackathon. Actually, the hackathon, it was the title of your intervention.
I know.
I knew that it is very hot. I don't know, Susanna, if we have 5 more minutes to expand a little bit and take a couple of questions from the participants, because I found the session very, very full of knowledge, and for me, life is for sharing. So as you can see, now we took in 1 hour a lot of, you know, resources that already exist on a policy level, on a training level, and now the Entrecomp community at European level. So if some of you all around the globe, you have something to share with us, please use the chat, and we have 5 more minutes. You can raise your hand and ask Elena or Elin. Your question will be nice to have interaction also with the participants of this online session. Please.
There is a question in the chat from Gokul.
Okay, let's see. Can you read it, please?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. As a social work faculty member based in the USA, I wish to get your thoughts on how Entrecomp could potentially be able to help with strengthening a Masters of Social Work curriculum with entrepreneurship for social change content. As currently social work education in the USA lacks this content, in my humble viewpoint, also in my humble viewpoint, the hackathon idea was just awesome. And I think it would make social work students cutting edge with their professional endeavors. Oh, I could not agree more. I could not agree more. I actually my youth work experience comes from a social work context, working with young people in a social work team in South Wales, where care leavers, very young parents, people dealing with homelessness, and, you know, to look at I know a lot about the social work curriculum. The hackathon is a great opportunity. It's a lovely concept of hackathon for kindness that I could share with you as well. That's a very interesting idea. But I think also to look at innovating social work practice and the entrepreneurial perspectives on that, in terms of innovating how things are delivered, innovating the practices that support young people, changing the ways that young people can be engaged into directing the social services, the support that's happening in across their regions, or perhaps very connected to their lives. There's a lot of opportunities there. So happy to have a chat about that. Perhaps we can have a video call, because that, honestly, I'd be very interested to see how that would be developable. And I'm sure that's something also we can take inspiration from for the work that we're doing in Entrepreneurship, Andreas, because this is, social works, educated social workers are often public sector based, but working with young people through that as well, but working in that environment where sometimes the systems can be barriers and it's a bit tough. So trying to think round corners can be ever more important.
Actually, the materials of the Ed Republic will be uploaded in the community as well. So because we have a focus on the trainers, because we strongly believe that history can change only with active minorities. And the trainers all over the globe are those that they will bring the change. That's why we're focused on changing the mindset on the trainers, either the formal or non-formal education.
Definitely. Thank you. I'll pop you an email.
Any more questions?
Any more questions? Yeah.
We can take a couple more. Susanna is here. Give us the permission. Actually, I have uploaded when Elin was talking some of the reports of Entrecom, so you can download them and read more thoroughly all the details of the framework and get insight. And of course, you can email Elin, Elena, or ourselves, because we are a European community, and we'll be very, very happy to collaborate and see how we can expose all these experiences in other continents, in other countries as well. This is the mission of Catalyst 2030 family.
I would love to ask a question, but I'm too tired to have a good one. But yeah, I've known Elin for a bit, and I really encourage anyone who doesn't have a lot of familiarity with Entrecom to really go to the community, and especially the Entrepreneurial Day, which is I think it is called that way. I forgot. Entrepreneurial Day. I went there last year. It was great opportunity. It's a really good environment to also get inspiration, and I also got a lot of inspiration from a lot of initiatives that have been organized for my future projects. So I really encourage everyone to really get into it, because you're not gonna get out of the environment, because it's really good. Yeah, just want to add that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Fatima. We also participated in the Entrepreneurship Cafe, Elin. So this is amazing, because we have many stories, either from trainers or from real entrepreneurs, and that is great inspiration. And the good thing is to discuss after we start training of the public sector entrepreneurial skills. We have to make a special cafe for this opportunity as well, Elin.
Definitely. I think that would be absolutely an opportunity there as well, to bring together some partners and talk about that, and perhaps also bring representative from Catalyst 2030 to talk about the challenges that the organization itself has dealt with in order to sort of, come through and support in the way that it has at such a strategic level. I think there's experience to share there, certainly.
So at this point, I would like to thank you all, especially Elin and Elena, for your time on this online session with Catalyst 2030. We hope to have more, and we press you to organize also something similar in your countries as well, and become members of your network on the family of Catalyst 2030. Thank you all the participants for your time. And if we have no more questions, I wish you a very good night today. Thank you very much all.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.